రాజేషు ఒక్కల చేసి పూజలు అయిపోయింది. కిరణ్ పట్టుకొచ్చింది. ఏమన్నా మామూలు ఇచ్చినప్పుడు నాకు లేదు, నేను చేయించుకుంటే ఆమె లేదు, అశ్విన్కి లేదు.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yesterday, as I told you, today we will discuss about cell cycle and cell division. Discuss about cell cycle and cell division. Cell cycle and cell division. Cell cycle and cell division. And here, first in cell cycle, and we'll define about what is cell cycle. Here, definition of cell cycle. Cell cycle is the sequence of events by which cell cycle is the sequence of events it is the sequence of events by which a cell divides its genome, by which a cell divides its genome and synthesizes other substances and eventually the cell divides into two daughter cells. Cell divides into two daughter cells, and that is called cell cycle. Cell cycle means it is the sequence or a sequence of events by which a cell divides its genome and synthesizes other substances of a cell, and eventually that cell or the parent cell divides into two daughter cells. That is called a cell cycle. Yeah, most probably cell cycle means if a single cell or a parental cell that develops its genome or that develops its DNA and also develops other cellular substances, and also it divided into two new daughter cells. That is called cell cycle. And the total duration of cell cycle is varies for different organisms. Here, for example, the total duration for cell cycle or the human cell cycle takes completes within 24 hours. Here, the human cell divides to form two new or daughter cells. A parental cell divides to form daughter cells within 24 hours. That means here the cell cycle of human beings or human cells divided within 24 hours. But here in all the organisms it is not 24 hours. The duration of cell cycle varies for different organisms. For example, yeast completes its cell cycle cell cycle within 90 minutes only. Within 90 minutes. Within 90 minutes means 1 hour and 30 minutes or 1.5 hours. The yeast can reproduce its new cell. Here, cell cycle is nothing but, or cell division is nothing but a reproduction of cell, or a single parental cell develops or divides to form two new daughter cells. That is called cell cycle, and it's nothing but cell reproduction. Cell cycle, you can also call it as a cell reproduction. Cell reproduction. Cell cycle is also called cell reproduction, and this cell cycle is mainly of this cell cycle is basically divided into two events, or there are two basic events of cell cycle. And what are those two basic events of cell cycle? Let us see. The basic events of cell cycle are basic events before that I forgot to mention the date. 9/9/2020. Okay, here the basic events of cell cycle. There are two basic events of cell cycle. The first one, interphase and M phase. Interphase and second one, M phase. And there are two basic events which occur in the cell cycle. And what are those two basic events that occur in cell cycle? Are interphase and M phase. And interphase is also called as growth phase or resting phase. Let us see, it is a resting phase or developing phase. Resting phase. And this M phase is also called active phase or cell division phase. Or division phase. And in this resting phase, cell growth occurs. In this interphase, cell growth occurs. Only growth means in this interphase the size of the cell increases, and the development of the cell occurs in interphase, whereas in M phase cell division occurs. Cell division occurs. Cell division occurs in M phase, whereas in interphase cell growth occurs. There is no division appeared in the interphase, and it is also called resting phase. Means in this resting phase no division of the cell. Or in this M phase, or it is also called as mitosis phase. It is also called mitosis phase. In this mitosis phase or M phase, division of cell or cell division occurs, whereas in interphase there is no cell division and only growth of the cell occurs. And this interphase is for example, in human beings, about 24 hours cell division occurs or cell cycle completes within 24 hours, and in this 24 hours interphase lasts about 23 hours. Interphase about 23 hours, and this M phase or mitosis phase about only 1 hour. Only 1 hour. That means here about 95% of the cell cycle present in a interphase, and only remaining 5% of cell cycle is in a M phase. And here it means here interphase, the cell cycle, in cell cycle 95% of interphase, and remaining 5% is of M phase or this mitotic phase. And this interphase is again divided into 3 subphases. And what are those 3 subphases of interphase? Here G1, S, and third one G2 phase. G1 phase, S phase, and G2 phase. G1 phase, S phase, and G2 phase. G1 phase, S phase, and G2 phase. And this M phase or this mitotic phase is also divided into 4 subphases. And what are those 4 subphases in M phase or mitotic phase? They are prophase, metaphase, third one anaphase, and fourth one telophase. Fourth one telophase. And these are the 4 phases or 4 subphases which comes under M phase. And there are 2 subphases which comes under interphase. What are they? Means G1 phase, S phase, and G2 phase. And here in G1 phase it is also first resting phase. And in S phase, what occurs in S phase means synthesis of DNA occurs in S phase, hence it is called as synthesis phase, or synthesis of DNA occurs in S phase. Whereas in G2 phase, again this is a gap phase or resting phase. And G1 phase means gap 1 and gap 2. Between this gap 1 and gap 2, the synthesis phase occurs, or synthesis of DNA occurs. And these are the 3 subphases which comes under the interphase. And whereas in M phase, and there are 4 subphases in M phase.